most of the book, these materials are not available. So I have taken this material from different websites. Okay, so you can search net and you can get these materials. But I will also give the PDF of these slides. Okay, but see, in most of the book, you will not get this chapter. Okay, so I'm starting this one, abstract data type. This is your syllabus. Okay, these are topics that is written in your syllabus. So abstract data type, abstract data type in Java are the most conceptual thing to learn in Java. Okay. It brings out the beauty of Java and its abstract implementation. Before we start to read about the topic in detail, let us take a real life example of abstract data type in Java. Okay, so I think there is no doubt about the first paragraph. Any doubt regarding the first paragraph?
No, sir.
Okay. So, real life example. Suppose you are Captain John Wick and you are going to fly a Boeing 777 aeroplane from Delhi to London. Okay, and you have taken years of training at flight school, and you are having lot of experience of flying a aircraft. Okay, so you have the skill of pilot, and you are ready to take off. Okay, now to fly a plane, do you need to know how the engine works? Is it required,
Yes, sir.
or
Sure.
is it required? Since a pilot have to know that how the engine works, engineering behind the engine.
Ah,
No,
Yes. No, no. How that engine works means all details of engine, then how the fuel discharge system of the aircraft is working. Okay. So is it required for a pilot have a knowledge about that? The answer is no. Okay.
no,
So
yes, sir. Sir, the pilot have knowledge about the systems and how to control those systems, but pilot doesn't have the knowledge about how those systems individually work. So he knows how to make those system work simultaneously in order such that the plane can fly.
yes, means that pilot know how to fly it. Okay, but how it works, they don't have any idea. Means they have some may have some superficial idea, but means in-depth idea is not required. Okay, so suppose forget about the aircraft. Suppose you are driving a car. How means a car driver don't have idea how the engine is working. Okay, how the brake is working, how the fuel system is working, how the clutch is working. Okay, a lot of parts are there in the car. How pneumatic system is working. Okay, so they don't have this idea. A car driver may be a illiterate person also. Okay, so they know how to drive. In that case, in case of aircraft, a pilot know how to fly the aircraft. That's all. Okay, that skill. Yes, yes. Nobody is waiting. Yes.
Sir, she messaged in the group.
Nobody is working. Nobody is waiting. So no problem. So this is an abstraction. Okay. So this is an abstraction. So it is the aircraft to a pilot is the abstraction. Okay. In Java, you can do this implement abstraction by using classes and interfaces. Okay. So is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now abstract data type is a type or class of or objects whose behavior is defined by a set of value and set of operations. Okay. So it's a class or objects whose behavior is defined by a set of value and a set of operations.
স্যার ঈশা জয়েন করতে পারছে না।
Nobody is waiting over there. Nobody is waiting. I have seen the message. Nobody is waiting over there. Isa is present here. There may be some problem from our end.
Sir, Masum Raj is also messaging he is unable to join.
Masum has just joined. Isa is already there. Isa is already present.
Sir, right now I am here.
Okay, no problem. So nobody is waiting. Okay. So abstract data type is a type or class. You are aware of abstract class for objects whose behavior is defined by a set of values and a set of operations. So earlier we have studied abstract data type, abstract class. Okay, in that class, what we can do? We can declare some variables. Okay, we can put some values on those variables and in those variables, and we can declare some method. But we will not implement those methods. So that is abstract class. Okay. So by abstract class, what object we can make? Those objects are abstract data. Okay. So means by means of abstract class, we cannot make any object, but we can implement abstract class into concrete class. Then we can make object of concrete class. Okay. So the definition of ADT, abstract data type, only mentioned that what operations are to be performed. Okay. Means we are saying what operation we will do, but not how these operations will be implemented. We are defining the method, but we are not writing the body of the method. We are only declaring the method, means what we will do, that we are saying. But how to do that, we are not saying that in the abstract class. Okay, so see, it is written, but not how these operations will be implemented. It does not specify how data will be organized in memory and what algorithm will be used to implementing the operations. It is called abstract because it gives an implementation independent view. Okay, the process of providing only the essential and hiding the details is known as abstractions. Okay, so when we are talking about the abstract aeroplane, we are saying what is the behavior of that aeroplane, how it will behave, but how the aeroplane is working, means actually working, we are not concentrating on that. Okay, a pilot is aware of the behavior of the aeroplane when the pilot is flying the aircraft, but actual how the behavior can be achieved, that pilot don't have any idea. Okay, so that type of thing is known as abstract class or abstract data type. Okay, suppose we are doing sorting. Sorting is a method. Means if you give a set of data to a sort method, the sorting method will give the sorted data, okay, as a output. But see how it is doing sorting. It is not mentioned over there. It may use bubble sort, it may use other type of sorting technique like quick sort. So those are means which type of algorithm the sorting method is using. We are not concentrating on that. Okay, so this is abstract data type. Are you understanding what I am trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see this figure. This is actual implementation. Actual implementation, how it is done. Okay, but this is abstract data type. Okay, and to the outer world, only public functions can be accessed through interface. Okay, and these public functions are using this data structure and accessing private functions. Private functions may use this data structure also. Okay. See? So when we are defining these public functions, how it is implemented, that is not in the scope of public function. Okay, it is communicating with the data structure and it is communicating with other private functions, and then it is means it is working. Without the help of these two, it will not work. Okay, an interface, to the interface we are communicating with the public functions. Okay. So to the application program, only known thing is the interface. Okay, and through the interface, it is communicating with the abstract data type application program. Okay, see, I am giving another example. Suppose we are all using ATM. Okay, in the ATM machine, we are interacting with the ATM machine through interface. How the ATM is working, we are not concerned about that. Okay, we don't know that. Okay, so that type of thing is known as abstract data type. Okay, so the user of data type does not need to know how that data type is implemented. Okay, so user is only concerned about this interface. Means user is aware of this interface. How it is implemented, user is not going to know that, or user don't need to know that. Okay, so we have been using primitive values like integer, float, char data types only with the knowledge that these data types can operate and be performed on without any idea how they are implemented. So a user only needs to know what a data type can do, but how it will be implemented, not how it will be implemented. See, when we are doing programming, we are using a lot of primitive values, a lot of data types, primitive data types like integer, float, char, and we are using those. But how it is actually implemented in Java, that we don't know. Okay, so we can write suppose integer a comma b comma c. Then we can say that a equal to b plus c. So plus operation can be performed on integer, but how it is working, we don't have any idea. We are using this. Okay, so this type of thing is known as abstract data type. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Always we are doing, always we are doing dealing with abstract data type. Okay. Now, abstract data types in Java, there may be a list. Okay, list may be abstract data type. Then a stack may be abstract data type. Then a queue may be another abstract data type. Okay. Okay. So abstract data types are the data types where you can logically work with the data type, but you would not know the inner working of the data type. Okay, so if you can logically work with the data type, but actual physical implementation is not known to you. Okay, there are many different types of abstract data type in Java. Simply speaking, if you define a data type with the help of a programming language and then hide its implementation, then it is an abstract data type. Okay. So simply speaking, if you implement something, then you hide the implementation and just simply works on it, means works with it without knowing the implementation, then that becomes an abstract data type. Okay, you just present the user with the data type and the operations for that data type. This enables the programmer to easily use the complex data structure without thinking about its implementation. Okay, so in Java, always we are doing that. We are writing system out println, then we are putting some value within quotation. But are we thinking about that how that function is working? System out println function, how it is actually implemented? We are not thinking about that. We are giving the value and we are getting the output. Okay, so that is also a abstract data type. Okay. So operations on abstract data type in Java. Okay. Operations can be divided, means there may be different kinds of operations on abstract data type in Java. Creator, producer, observers, mutator. Okay, 4 types of operations are there. Creators, producer, observer, mutators. Okay, I will explain one by one. See, if you have any question, you can ask. If you have any doubt, you can ask anytime. Okay, first one, creators. These operations primarily create objects of a certain type. However, note that some creators can take objects as parameter too, but a creator will never take an object of the same type as itself. Okay. So creator means the functions or operations that will create object of certain type, means abstract type. Okay. To create object of certain type, you require object of other type. You may require object of other type. That is acceptable. But for creating object of certain type, you cannot take object of same type. Is it clear? Suppose you will create a aeroplane. Okay. To create a aeroplane, you can take object like engine, you can take object like wings, you can take object like propeller, you can take object like fueling system. Okay, and then you can make a aeroplane, total aeroplane. Okay, but you cannot take aeroplane as a input to make another aeroplane. Is it clear? So see, it is written. Note that the sum creator can take object as parameters too, means other type of object as input, as parameters, but it cannot take same type of object as input. Here last two line.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I can't understand that how sysin and sysout is abstract data type. I think it is I mean object of output stream and input stream. It should be, but how will be a data type?
See, everything class is a type.
Yes, sir.
Class is a type.
Yes, sir.
What is system? What is out? System dot out. What is out?
Object. So object of a output
Out is
stream.
output string. Object of a output string. String is a class,
Yes, sir.
and out is a object of that class.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you are using out, okay, are you thinking about means how the out is implemented?
No, sir.
So you are only concerned about that how the out is working.
Sir, it means there is no relation between data type and abstract data type.
No, not that. I am saying that when you are using something, you are not thinking about the implementation of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so from that point of view, you can say that out is the abstract data type.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay, so that's why I am saying that. Okay, but see,
Okay, sir.
in case of something, in case of say, if you want to do something means one sort of means in a program. Suppose you want to do means if you know every intricate details of that program. Okay, suppose you are doing sorting and you are implemented the bubble sort.
Okay, sir.
How the sorting is done, that you are doing the program. You are doing the program means you are doing the operation of sorting, and how the sorting is done, that is also known to you. And then
Yes,
that
sir.
is not abstract data type.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, one second, sir. Sir, but if we use I mean sort function, then we don't know about how the I mean how my library implement them. So I think it will be also
Yes.
abstract data type, no?
Yes. To you, it's a abstract thing.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Means abstract data type and abstract thing is different. Okay. So abstract data type having some property and but to us, a lot of things are abstract. Means we don't know how it is working, but still we are using those.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are using
Yes.
ATM. ATM is a abstract thing to us because we don't know the implementation of ATM, but it's not a abstract data type.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we cannot say that aeroplane is a abstract data type. We are just giving a real life example. Okay, so abstract data type,
Okay, sir.
this is a technical term, and this is applicable for object oriented programming knowledge. And it's a concept of object oriented programming. But in the real life, always we are dealing with abstract things. Okay, a car, a bicycle, everything is a abstract thing to us. Means we know how to use them, but we don't know how it is working. So same concept can be applicable for object-oriented
Okay, sir.
programming. We know how to use them, but we don't know the actual implementation, or we don't have to know the actual implementation. We know only how to use them. Okay, suppose again I am giving another crude example. Suppose we are using Google Meet. Okay, do you know how Google Meet is working?
No, sir.
Then it's a abstract thing to you. You are using Windows. Do you know how Windows is working? Windows operating system is working? Don't have
No, sir.
idea, very much idea. How it is implemented, you don't have any idea. Okay, so again it's a abstract thing. You are using laptop. How laptop is working, do you know that? Very little idea about that. Okay, so again it's a abstract thing. Okay, so in real life we are using always abstract thing. Okay, otherwise we cannot deal with the complexity.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Got it.
so creator is over, then producer. These may sound similar to the creator operations, but producer produce a different object of same type. It does this by performing some kind of operations on the object and returning a new object. For example, when you merge two strings together, the producer method combines two string objects and returns a new object. Okay. So in case of creator, what I have told, in case of creator operation, it can take other objects, okay, means of different type, and it can produce objects of certain type. Okay. In case of producer, it will take object of same type and it will do some operation on those objects, and then it will produce object of same type. So are you getting the difference between creator and producer? Creator operation and producer operation?
Yes, sir.
Clear to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Then observer. These are essentially the operations that that take an object of a single type and return an object of different type. Okay. For example, if you want to check whether the stack is empty, the function will take stack object and return the Boolean value. Okay. So if you say that if means suppose the is empty, method is empty, and the input is a stack, and that method will check whether the stack is empty or not. If the stack is empty, it will return true. if the stack is not empty, it will return false. So it is taking a object as input and it is returning another thing, another object of different type. So this kind of method is known as observers. Okay. Last one. These operations change the object itself. Okay. This is evident when you add new item to a list and changes the object itself. Suppose add something into the list. Okay. So what we are doing? So you are supplying the list and you are supplying the new item to be added into the list. Then within the method, the item is added into the list and then after it is returning a new list. Okay, so that type of operation is changing the object. Okay, so that type of operation is known as mutators. So is it clear? What type of methods, what type of operations of abstract data type?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And what are the difference means? What are the differences?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, list abstract data type in Java. Okay, so list is as a abstract data type. I think in data structure you have already started list.
Yes, sir.
So list is something where you can add item into the list and you can take item, remove item from the list. Okay, so in a list, the every element having a value and that element is pointing to the next element. There is a pointer which can point to the next element of the list in the list. Okay, so a list is a linear collection like a stack and queue, but more flexible. Adding and removing element from a list does not have to happen at one end or the other. Okay, so is it? I think it is clear to everybody. There is no doubt about it. Okay, now what are the operations that we can do on a list? Okay, so remove first. Remove the first element from the list. That may be one operation. Remove last. Remove the last element from the list. Okay, remove. Remove a particular element from the list. First, examine the element at the front of the list. Last, examine the element at the rear of the list. Contents, determine if the particular element is in the list. Is empty, determines whether the list is empty or not. Size, determines the number of elements in the list. Iterator, return an iterator from the list element. ToString, return a string representation of the list. So these are operations that you can do on the list. Okay. So list editing interface. Okay. So what I have told, in case of say this, we have to implement this interface. Means to the user, this interface is only known. Okay. Other are inside abstract data type. Okay. So in case of list, if you want to build a interface for the list, okay, so public interface list editing, then T is the list data type. Okay, so this is a generic type that I will discuss later in the next chapter. Okay, so you can consider as a new type list T, generic type. Okay. See, we are aware of integer type, we are aware of character type, we are aware of float type, we are aware of double type. So similarly, T is a list type. Okay. So if you write public T remove first. Okay. So remove first method is removing the first element of the list and it is returning a new list. So the return type is a list. So it is written T as T. So removes and return the first element from this list. Now see, here we are saying what we will do. Means we will remove the first element from the list and we will return a new list. But we are not saying that how we will do that. How it will be implemented. We can use this method, but we are not implementing this method. So this one, first one is clear to everybody? Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Second one, remove and return the last element from this list. So remove last. So first element, last element, other things are same. Okay, next one, removes and returns the specified element from this list. Okay, so remove T element, a particular element from the list and return a new list. Okay, returns a reference of the first element on this list. See, what is the first element of the list? Return a reference to that element, of that element. Returns a reference to the last element of the list, this one. Okay. Then returns true if the list contains the specified target element. See, if the list contains the target element, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So the return type is Boolean, not T, list. Okay, so returns true if the list contains no element, is empty. So if the list is empty, it will return true. If list is not empty, it will return false. So the return type is Boolean. Public integer size. So it will return the size of the list. So the size is integer, means how many elements that list contain at that moment. So it is integer type. So public iterator T, iterator. Okay, so returns an iterator for the element in the list. Okay.
Sir, what is this iterator?
Iterator means a counter value. Okay, counter value. What is the position of that element into the list?
ওকে, তো তাহলে ভ্যালুটা তো ইন্টিজার হওয়া উচিত ছিল।
No, it will return as a iterator. Iterator is a type of thing in a list. How it is implemented. I will show this later.
Okay. And what
Then,
is this T inside angular brackets?
So it's a
ওটা আগে
generic
ছিল
type. Generic type. আমি তো বললাম এখানে explain করলাম এই যে T একই জিনিস।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
In your syllabus, the next chapter will be your generic type. Okay. So
Okay.
generic type means a type of your own. We are aware of integer type, we are aware of character type. Similarly, this T is list type. List is a type, like integer type, character type, that type of thing. So it's known as generic type, this angular bracket. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Now, list implementation. Now, see here we have defined the operations, but we have not implemented this. Okay, now we have to implement this list implementation using arrays. Okay, so we are putting the elements of the list into a array. Okay, and we are implementing it by means of array. So container is an array. Okay, so how you are doing that? Fixed one end of the list at index 0 and shift as needed when an element is added or removed. So first element of the list is starting from array 0. Okay, and if we are keep on adding element into the list, into the array, we are shifting the last pointer, last element value, last position value. Okay, so is a shift needed when an element is added? At the front, somewhere in the middle, at the end? These are the questions. When we are adding element into the list, if any shift is required. Okay, is a shift needed when an element is removed from the front, from somewhere in the middle, from the end? Okay, is it required? Okay, so these are questions. So see, this is a pictorial view how we can implement list by means of an array. So an array based list ls with 4 elements. With 4 elements. See, this is a list reference, and it is pointing this. And here we are having two types of thing. One is list, which is pointing to the first element of the array, and the last element of the array, that is 4 here. Okay, so see here 4 elements are there. Okay, and these are elements of the list. Okay, so conceptually, how this is how the list is implemented. Okay, but this is a conceptual view. This is not the actual implementation. This is not the program. Okay, so the implementation. Okay, suppose we want to remove one element from the list, and we will we are trying to get that element. Okay, so the element may be a list with a single item. Again, I am going to this figure. Suppose we want to remove this one, second one. Okay, so this will be removed from here, and it will return a list with this item only. So the return type is also a list. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So see this program. You don't have to write this program. I'm showing this just for your concept. Okay. So key result, integer index, find element. So find is another method. Uses helper method find. Okay. So find method will find out the element. Okay. So if the element is there within the list, it will give the position of that element into the list as index. So if the element is not there in the list, so in that case it will return not found. This find helper method will return not found. Okay, so if it is not found, then it will throw new element not found exception, that is list, and we will handle with that exception. Okay, And if it is not that, means index have a number, suppose it's 1 2 any, so we will get that element from the list as a list. See, result is a list, P type. Okay, then we are reducing the rear by 1. See here, rear is 4. So after removing one element from the list, rear will become 3. Okay, so that we are doing. Then what we are doing, integer scan equal to index, scan less than rear, scan plus plus. Okay, so list scan equal to scan plus 1. Okay, list rear equal to now. Okay, return result. Okay, so we are returning the result, and we are shifting the elements of the present list towards left. Okay, so this is remove operation. Okay, similarly, we can implement the find operation. We are looking for a particular element into a list. If the element is found into the list, then it will return the position of that list as an integer number. Okay, so integer scan 0, result not found, boolean found equal to false. If it is not empty, if the list is not empty, then only we are doing this. Okay, so target equals then found equal to true, else scans plus plus means you will scan the next element. If found means found is true, then result equal to scan, return result. Okay, result equal to scan, then return result. Scan is an integer number. See, we are starting from scan 0 means first position. If the element is found, then we are returning that result. Otherwise, we are not, means we are returning result equal to 0, means result not found. Find method. Okay, see here. Here we are using find method. Okay, and this method we are implemented over here. Okay. Then list implementation using arrays returns true if the list contains the specified element. Okay, so see here we are checking whether a list contains a element or not. Okay, so find target not equal to not found. Okay, then it is true. If it is equal to not found, then it is false. Okay, so if the element is found, it will return is means if the element is not there, then it will return false. Yeah. Contents operation. Okay, so in this way we can implement operation of all these. Okay, so if you can do that, then after that create a element relation. You can this, and you don't have bother. You don't have about implementation of this. Okay, so you can just see what you are doing in Java. You are declaring integer I. Okay, or you can declare anything. Suppose you can say string s. Then you can write s dot. Then you can call a method of string type, a string class, and you can use those methods. So how to use them, that you know, but how it is actually implemented, that you don't have any idea. So you can create a interface, you can create a class of list type. Some methods are discussed over here. Okay, and you can implement other methods. After that, you can create a object of list type, and you can use this method by just calling the method name and by giving proper argument to those methods. Okay, you don't have to concentrate on the implementation. Okay, now the list becomes a abstract data type. Okay, so is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Or you have any question? Any student have any question? Anybody?
Sir, can we pass list as parameter inside another list? Like we pass integer as a parameter, right? Can we pass list as a parameter inside another list?
No, you cannot add, means you cannot insert a list inside another list.
Sir,
It's not
why?
possible.
But
You can
should we?
add an element into a list. You can add a element into a list, but you cannot add a list within a list.
Sir, then it should be like a 2D array. Then it's work fine, right?
No, suppose your list having a property of say one-dimensional array. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so how you can make it two-dimensional array?
Sir, for every element we insert a particular list.
No, suppose, uh, suppose this is your list. Okay, and
Okay, sir.
this array element is a, suppose, can only hold a integer number. Every
Okay,
element
sir.
will be an integer number. Now, how you can add a complete list as an element?
Sir, like when we can make 2D array, okay? Similarly, like that we can.
No, it's a one-dimensional array, not 2D array, and it's a integer type array.
But sir, it is similar.
Suppose you declare a one-dimensional array, can you add a array inside that array as an element? Can you do that?
Sir, I think it should be yes.
How?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
So it is not possible.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, so here every element can contain a integer number. It cannot contain a list.
Okay, sir.
Okay, list means all these things means list. A list, there will be a this thing will be there, then a rear will be there, then the elements will be there. But every element is a integer number here in this case. Suppose. Okay,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
then
Yes.
you cannot add them. Add a list inside a list. But suppose if we means see this single box is actually implemented by means of this type of structure as a list. Single box is a list. Okay, so inside means every element of the list is a list itself. Then you can add means what you are thinking of, two-dimensional array. Then you can add another list inside a list. You can do that. Okay, so it's a question that how you are implementing this, but that thing will become too much complicated for you to understand.
Sir, it is simpler for linked list. না লিঙ্ক লিস্টে এটা হবে না।
So you can think about linked list. But here the list is implemented by means of
Sir, it is
array.
similar to doubly linked list.
The linked list,
Sir, it is similar to doubly linked list.
obviously, because we discussed about. No, in case of doubly
Yes,
linked
sir.
list, there will be two array, two pointers in the two in one element. In the case of single link, there will be single pointer. That is the difference between single linked list and doubly linked list.
ওকে স্যার।
Okay, then another example. Okay, poly a immutable data type and overview. Okay, a poly is an immutable polynomial with integer coefficient. A typical polynomial is C0 plus C1x plus C2x square.
Sir, you are not properly audible.
Uh, See, can I write a equation like this? A plus bx plus cx like that. Is it audible?
Sir, your voice is not properly audible.
Is it audible? So in mathematics, you have written some polynomial. Okay, suppose a plus bx plus c x square, then d x cube. Okay, so these a, b, c, d, these are coefficient, integer coefficient in most of the cases. Okay, so we are talking about those type of polynomial. Okay, and poly is a class by which we can create those polynomials. Means we can create those polynomial and we can deal means we can work with those polynomials. So is it clear? This what is why you are talking what I am talking about?
Yes, sir.
Sir, এটা কি immutable কেন?
বলছি Okay, so make a new poly. Okay, equal to 0. We will write a function poly first bracket open close. Okay. So a polynomial with 0, nothing is there. So we will call a constructor poly. Okay, so the class is poly. So the constructor with no value, no arguments. So it will create a poly with 0, means nothing is there. Okay, now makes a new poly with coefficient c and x to the power n. Okay, so in that case we have to give two arguments. One is c, another was means n. Okay, so if we can give c and if we can give n, in that case that will be this, that can construct a polynomial like this. Suppose c is 2 and x is 3, so a polynomial is 2x cube. Okay, but if n is minus, then it will throw the exception. If n is less than 0, in that case it will throw the exception. Okay, now another method is there, returns the degree of this, that is the largest exponent with a non-zero coefficient. Okay, returns 0 if it is 0. Okay, so suppose we are having a polynomial a plus bx plus cx cube. Okay, in that case this will return 3 x cube, highest coefficient, highest non-zero coefficient. Okay, last this one, return the coefficients of the item of this whose exponent is d, throws throw negative if d is less than 0. Okay, so suppose we are looking for coefficient of x cube. So in that case, d will be 3 and it will return the coefficient of x cube in the polynomial. That will be integer number. Okay. So observer method. These are all creator method. Okay. So now observer method used to obtain information about object of the type. Okay. Returns values of other type. Never modify the abstract value. Specifications uses the abstractions from the overview. This particular poly objects being accessed target to of the invocation, also known as the receiver. Okay. See, a polling is new poly 4,3. Okay, so if you call this, then it will call the constructor like this. Okay, 4,3, this one. Okay, so this will create a polynomial 4x cube. Okay, then what we are looking for? We are looking for coefficient 3. So coefficient of 3 is this method. This method, this will return 4. Okay, so C will be 4, and then we are printing system out println 4. Okay, C means we will get 4. Okay, so this is how we are using this. Okay.
Okay.
So producer method of public poly add poly q. Okay, we are adding one. Okay. okay, into the polynomial. Okay, and it will return a new polynomial. Okay, now public poly MUL poly Q. Okay, so multiply this poly equals to this multiply Q. Okay, public poly negate. This will return negative. This is the existing polynomial, negative of that polynomial. It will return that type of thing. Then producer operation on a type that creates other object of the type. Okay, common in immutable type like Java lang string, substring, integer offset, integer length. No side effect, cannot change the abstract value of existing objects. Okay, so see here, producer will create other objects of the type. Okay, suppose a polynomial is there. From that polynomial, if we create a polynomial of means a different polynomial from that polynomial, then it is known as producer method. Okay, so see here, suppose we are having a polynomial, say a plus bx plus cx square. So from that, if you take a plus bx, okay, so that will be also a polynomial. Okay, so that is known as producer method. Okay, so I have discussed 4 types of method here. 4 types of method here: creator, producer, observer, mutators. And in case of polynomial, I have shown those methods. I have given example of those methods. And see, one student have asked one question that why it is a immutable polynomial, means why we are saying that polynomial is not mutable. Okay, so see here, in case of why we are talking this as immutable polynomial, because after creation of a polynomial, we cannot change that polynomial. We can add it, modify it, but we cannot change that polynomial. To store the polynomial value into that object. To change that polynomial, we have to create a new object. Okay, for that reason, it is known as immutable polynomial. Is it clear or not clear?
অ্যাড করলে তো চেঞ্জ হচ্ছে, মানে পলিনোমিয়ালটা তো বড় হয়ে যাচ্ছে।
অ্যাড করলে চেঞ্জ হচ্ছে, কিন্তু আমরা এক্সিস্টিং পলিনোমিয়ালের যে অবজেক্টটা সেখানে চেঞ্জ ভ্যালুটা স্টোর করছি না। We are creating a new object and then we are storing the it as a new object.
Okay.
Once it is created and it is assigned to that object, towards means up to the end of the program, that object means that object is not changeable.
Okay.
You can change it and you can store it as a new object. You cannot change the old object value. For that reason, it is a immutable object. Okay. Similarly, see in Java, string is a immutable object. Probably you have studied that string is immutable. Once you have created a string, you cannot change its value. If you want to change that, you have to create a new string object and you can store it over there. Because a string is a immutable type. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then we are talking about state space. Okay, the state space is the set of possible states. In this case, an object. Means the object can be state. Okay, and a state space set of all possibilities that a object can belong. Okay, a aeroplane may be in a state that the aeroplane is flying. Okay, an aeroplane is at the airport. So, see, the states are different. Okay, and all possible state of a object constitute state space. Okay, to make things simple, let's visualize a TV box operated with remote controller. Suppose you are controlling a TV with a remote. Okay, now how you can change the state of the TV? You can press the button of the remote controller and you can change the state of the TV. If it is in the off state, by pressing the on button, you can make it on, or if it is in the on state, by press the off button, you can make it off. You can change the state. Okay. Now, if it is in the on state, then you can change the channel, you can increase the volume, you can decrease the volume, you can do that. But if it is in off state, then you cannot do all these things. Okay, so how the means how a object will behave, that basically depends upon in which state the object is. So if a TV is in the on state, then it can means it can react to the volume change, it can react to the change of channel. But if the TV is in the off state, then it cannot react to that. Okay. Okay. Please wait a bit.
अभी कोई बोलो सर से हिंदी में क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं यार
क्या
हिंदी में
हाँ
क्वेश्चन
पूछो
पूछ
ना
सकते हैं सर से अच्छा
हाँ बिल्कुल
हेलो सर
Okay.
सर ये क्वेश्चन था
Another.
सर ये क्वेश्चन था
Ask your question.
सर जितने लैंग्वेज जो होते हैं जैसे सी हो गया सी प्लस प्लस पाइथन जावा सारे में लिस्ट का कंटेंट अलग अलग है या फिर सारे का लिस्ट सेम होता है
No. How it is implemented?
सर बट मैं तो सर दूसरी लैंग्वेज में पढ़ा हूँ लिस्ट जो होता है वो डब्ल्यू लिंक लिस्ट के सिमिलर होता है
You can implement double linked list, you can implement single linked list. Okay, it's up to you. And in a language, implementer may implement it as a double linked list, implementer may implement it as a single linked list. No problem. You
Okay,
can
sir.
implement your own list.
Okay, sir.
It's like suppose how many sorting operation you know?
Approx 5-6.
5-6 sorting operation. Okay, so
Yeah.
you can implement it in any language. You can implement it in 5-6 ways
Yes,
in
sir.
any language. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
it's up to
No,
you.
sir.
Up to you. What algorithm you will use?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, you know 2 ways of implementing list. Okay, so in Java you can implement it in two ways. In Python you can implement it in two ways. In C you can implement it in two ways. It's up to you. It's up to the implementer.
Okay, sir. Okay.
There is no hard and fast rule.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, another example can be of Java thread states. Okay, so I think I have discussed Java thread. Okay, and I have discussed different states of thread. It is in running state, it is at wait state. I have discussed. Okay, so that is the state space for Java thread. Okay, now state design pattern implementation. Okay, so define separate state object with specific behavior for each state. Okay, that is define an interface state for performing state specific behavior and define classes that implement the interface of each state. Okay, here we are told uh, a particular state different object behave differently. Means here, case of state of state in case of state raise algorithm, it will not do anything. And in case of state, if you press increase volume button, it will increase. So or resistance state, agent state. Okay,
Sir, your voice is breaking actually.
upon the system of the
স্যার শোনা যাচ্ছে না।
okay, me, I think echo হবে।
না স্যার, কেটে কেটে যাচ্ছে।
Wait a minute. Audible?
Not properly, sir.
Wait a minute. Wait for something. Then I will start.
Now you're audible, sir. Now you're audible.
Okay. So here we are saying that TV at on state, TV at off state. Okay. So if the TV is off and if you press the increase button in your remote controller, okay. But if it is in the on state and if you press the increase volume button, it will increase the volume of the TV. So the effect of something on a object is basically depends upon the existing state of that object. Okay. So if you are sending a request, okay, then it's basically the how the request will be handled. Okay, that will depend upon the state of that object. If it is a if it is in state A, it will be handled like this. If it is in state B, then it will be handled differently. Okay, a request. Okay, so this is a design pattern implementation of a state. Okay, so design participant state the interface define operations which each state must handle. Okay, concrete state the classes which contain the state specific behavior. Context define an interface to client to interact. It maintains reference to concrete state object which may be used to define current state of object. It delegates state specific behavior to the different state objects. Okay, so see here, state is there, context is there, and different concrete states are there. Okay, and these are the definitions of this. Okay. Now, we study a more formal mathematical idea of what is meant for a class to implement an abstract data type via the notions of abstraction function and read invariance. Okay. So we will now study it in more details with two things, considering two things in our mind. One thing is abstraction function, another is read invariance. Okay. Now these mathematical notions are eminently practical in software design. Okay, this is very important from the software design point of view. The abstraction function will give us a copy to cleanly define the quality operations on an abstract data type, which we shall discuss in more depth in a future class. Okay. The read invariant will make it easier to catch bugs caused by a corrupted data structure. Okay. So this is the definition of abstraction function, and this is the means not definition. This is what abstraction function is doing, and this is what read invariant is doing. Representation invariant is doing. I will show it with some example. Okay. One minute. Okay, it will be better if I complete it in the next class, because
Okay, sir.
I think I will not be able to end it. So in the next class, we will complete this abstraction function and read invariant. Okay. And
sir.
I start from here. Okay, because I think many slides are there on this. So if I start this topic, then means It is not possible to end it within half an hour. Okay, so it's better not to start today. Okay, so if you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, I close this.
স্যার এই কনটেক্সট জিনিসটা কি? দু তিনটে স্লাইড
Context
আগে
means
ছিল।
in which context? In which context we are this one?
Yes, sir.
Which context we are doing the operation? Context in this case defines an interface to client to interact. Okay, it maintains reference to the concrete state object which may be used to define the current state of the object. It delegates state-specific behavior to the different states object. See here, context. Okay, context is here.
Okay.
See here. TV is off. Okay, so in the off context we are doing something. TV is on. So in the on context we are doing something. Okay, so it is the context is relating the object with the state. See, concrete state is either on, one is one state and off is another state. And in those contexts we are doing all the operations. So it is relating, so it is written, it maintains a reference to concrete state object which may be used to define current state of the object. So it is maintaining a reference, maintaining two references. Suppose in case of context of the TV, context of the TV is maintaining two references of the TV. One is off, another is on. And based on that context, we are calling the state. Means we are calling the operations. We are doing the operations. Okay, see here. So first, when we are pressing the increase volume button in the remote, first we are checking in which context we are pressing the increase volume. Okay, so if it is in off state, okay, the current state is off, then the operation is do nothing. If the current state is on, then we have to increase the volume. Okay, so how we are handling the request, that is different. That is depends upon the state, and which one is maintaining the state, that is the context.
Okay, sir.
Sir, all operations are done in context state. Sir, all operations are done in context state. Context not
Context is not a state. Context is means context is holding the present state. What you can say.
Okay.
It is saying that in which state the object is. State may be say there may be say 5 state. So context may have 5 values.
The collection of all state.
You can say that. Not collection of all state means you can say that. See, means it is context is means in which context you are doing the operation. Okay, so that is the present state of the object. Okay, so a context may hold, a context may be, suppose you are doing some operation when the object is at state A, or in same option object is state. Okay, so context is saying that whether the object is at state A or state B.
Okay. ठीक है.
And see here, in this diagram, in this diagram, we are using some notations. Okay, see here, we are using this notation. This is for inheritance. Okay, and here we are using a diamond sign. Here we are using a arrow sign. Okay, and here we are using a rectangle box sign. Okay, so a lot of sign is there. Okay, and these uh, symbols are symbols of UML, Unified Modeling Language. Okay, so after the completion of Java, I will start this. Okay, and if you can draw this type of diagram properly in Magic Draw or similar kind of software, by drawing this type of diagram, if you can draw it properly, the software will generate the code. Okay, you don't have to write the code. Software will generate the code, and in any language. So from this diagram, if you draw this type of diagram in Magic Draw, okay, and if you say generate code in Java, it will generate code in Java. Generate code in Python, it will generate code in Python. Generate code in C++, it will generate code in C++ like that. Okay, you don't have to do the program directly. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
So, okay. So, is there any question from DBMS or object-oriented programming from previous classes?
No, sir.
I was expecting some question from you because you have already got. I think I have not taken class for 2-3 days. Okay, so I was expecting some questions because you should use these days for to clear some of your backlogs. No question. Okay, then I'm closing this class for today.
Okay, sir.
छुट्टी हो गया है
किरे राहुल क्यों हो रहा है? कहाँ जा रहा है रतिया में?
तुम साला क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा छुट्टी नहीं होने दे रहा था मेरा
अरे
यहाँ थोड़ा जाम में फंस गए हैं भाई कब से
देख रहे हैं
अरे विजय में थोड़ी नया ऑफिस है सब लेफ्ट करने को क्या विजय कितना चीज सीखे
सर
क्या
बहुत
क्या
लेफ्ट कर दो। अरे भाई बात सीखिए कुछ नहीं बस हम सर को ये दिखाना चाह रहे थे कि सर हम भी क्लास करते हैं ठीक है ना
अच्छा
मेरे को प्रेजेंट करने के लिए मत बोला कीजिए हाँ मेरे को प्रेजेंट करने के लिए मत बोला कीजिए
अच्छा अरे लैब के लिए बोल रहा है कि लैब में इसको बुला लेते हैं प्रेजेंट कर विजय इसलिए क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा था आज ठीक है विजय सब इतना नहीं क्वेश्चन पूछ रहता है तो क्वेश्चन हमको लिख के भेज देना, हम पूछ लेंगे अगली बार। हाँ तो गए भाई हम लोग एमजी रोड पे। कहाँ हो विजय, कब तक आ रहे हैं वर्तमान?
अरे घर पे पे बा लॉकडाउन वॉकडाउन खुलने कॉलेज खुलने दो, मन नहीं लगता है तुम लोग को घर पर।
कॉलेज तो नहीं खुलेगा भाई,
मन नहीं लग रहा है तुम लोग को घर पर, कहाँ कॉलेज आने के लिए इतना।
लग रहा है बाकी सब सोया हुआ है भाई, जो सोया हुआ है कोई बात नहीं, जो नहीं सोया लेफ्ट कर सकता है।
हाँ हाँ, सबको लेफ्ट करने दो पहले।
देख विजय देख भाई, आज मेरा पूरा सर घूम रहा है, तुम दर्द कर रहा है। देख ले विजय फुरकान।
कौन फुरकान है बे? हाँ बे लग गया था मेरे को, फुरकान है।
फुरकान है तो दादा भाई ने दिखा दी भाई। विजय विजय पहले बोल सकते हैं।
अभी तुम्हारा दोस्त मतलब मिल के आ रहे, सीट तो मिलने का था हम लोग।
हमारे दोस्त सिर्फ से मिलने हम लोग गए थे।
अच्छा हाँ, कैसा है वो बंदा?
बहुत डाउट हो रहा था।
ठीक है भाई, ठीक है, सब ठीक है।
सब ठीक है, तो वही गए थे घर पे मिले मिले, फिर बाहर गए थे घूमे।
चलो मजे करो,
ठीक है
सब
भाई।
बंदे सो गए हैं शायद।
हाँ अब हम लोग भी थोड़ा देर में हावड़ा पहुंच जाएंगे, फिर ट्रेन है दिल्ली के लिए।
चलो ठीक है फिर चलते हैं।
लेकिन हम दिल्ली नहीं जा रहे हैं भाई, फुरकान दिल्ली जा रहा है, हम खाली वर्धमान तक जाएंगे।
वहाँ चलो यार।
बाकी सब सोया है भाई।
अरे अभिषेक सुतल है रे।
ये अभिषेक का सुतल है, अभिषेक क्या नाम है?
हाँ,
अभिषेक का
अभिषेक
पूरा नाम क्या है? अभिषेक कुमार।
जाने तो सबको फिर से बॉडी बनेगा।
अखिल भी सोया हुआ है क्या?
हम्म।
अखिल भी सोया हुआ है।
अरे भाई सब ज्वाइन करके सो जाता है, लेकिन आज मधुमेह नहीं बोल रहा है भाई, मधुमेह तो हमेशा लास्ट तक भाई कुछ तो बोलता ही है। आज नवाज बहुत बात का भाई,
बर्थडे मनेगा।
बोला